All right, man, let's go Arizona Cardinals here. Another one of my favorite drafts. They started Walter Nolen in the first round, Ole Miss defensive tackle at 16. Will Johnson, the Michigan corner, in round 2. Jordan Burch, the edge out of Oregon in round 3. Cody Simon, Ohio State linebacker in round 4. Ohio State corner, Denzel Burke in round 5. And then Hayden Connor, Texas guard, and Keaton Crawford, Nevada safety in rounds 6 and 7. I just really like the defensive talent that was added here in the first 5 rounds here from Arizona. And what were your thoughts on the Cardinals draft?
Yeah, I love the first 2 days of this draft. I was less excited about the third day, but it's not like I hated it. But that first two days, first 3 rounds, I think were pretty spectacular, maybe as good as anybody in this draft. Walter Nolen, pick at 16 overall. The range on him was a little bit all over the place. People thought he was a top 10 player. People thought he was a day 2 player. But you see the upside, right? Like the good end of Walter Nolen's play looks like Jalen Carter from a couple of years ago. Now, I don't think he does it quite as often as Jalen Carter, and I don't think he's quite as consistent. But the good end looks similar, right? And obviously, Jalen Carter has already become one of the most dominant defensive tackles in the NFL. Walter Nolen's got that kind of skill set, right? And got that kind of upside. Maybe the average, the sort of median range of outcomes for him will be lower, but he's definitely got the same level of impact upside. Incredibly fast, explosive, dynamic, just a game wrecker along that defensive line. And they've still needed that influx of talent with the work that they've done. Will Johnson in the second round, I was a little bit lower on him than other people, but in the second round, I think it's an absolute steal. He's got incredibly fluid movement skills. I think he's great in zone coverage in particular. I would be a little bit more worried about exposing him as just a true pure man corner. And you have to at least factor in the theoretical athleticism, right? He had concerning 13 percentile 3-cone short shuttle, didn't even post to 40, which was supposedly the thing that people were scared of. So you have to at least acknowledge that and say that's a potential worry for Will Johnson. But on the field, his performance has been pretty spectacular. And then Jordan Burch maybe hasn't quite been the player that his size and athleticism suggests he should be, but he's a good player. I mean, he's an absolute ludicrous-looking human being, just a giant athletic freak. But I feel like there's a really good impact, sort of rotational player on the defensive front in him.
Doesn't this feel like a really boomer bust top 3? Because I say I really like it, but I always view this, especially Will Johnson, I view it through the lens of, at his best, when he's healthy, he's a top 10 to 15 player in this draft. That's where he was projected to go. Did he drop because of the injuries? Did he drop because people are slow, or people think he's slow, or what you mentioned, change of direction times? Which, again, he's coming off of injury. Should he have been testing? Is that his real time? We don't really know. I just watched him on film, and he reminded me a little bit of Asante Samuel in that he'll take some chances, he'll get burnt, but he'll make some big plays. And if you can stomach that, I think you've got some big play potential from Will Johnson. But that's the same mentality when I said I love the Jermaine Burton pick a couple years ago from the Bengals, because it could be absolutely nothing, or the payout could be incredible. And that's where I view this. Of course, I mean, Will Johnson could also just be an average player. I don't know. I just think the payout is potentially incredible here for Will Johnson in Jonathan Gannon's scheme, where they are going to play a lot of off coverage, eyes on the quarterback, and I think his short area acceleration is outstanding, and a reason why he had 3 pick sixes and had a really productive 3-year career at Michigan. So Walter Nolen, similar, right? Like, people didn't love him coming out of Texas A&M. He's really productive at Ole Miss. I'm not saying he's boomer bust, but former 5-star who's really disruptive in the run game, in the pass game. But between Nolen and Will Johnson, and then Burch, who you mentioned, is like a souped up 290 as far as his athleticism goes. It does feel a little boomer bust, where if all these guys hit, this is going to look incredible, but it's going to be tough for all of them to hit, at the same time, so to speak. Hey guys, just taking a quick break to tell you, hey, just over 50% of you are still unsubscribed to Check the Mic. It helps the channel. It helps to make sure that you don't miss any of our shows. So if you have a chance, hit the subscribe button right now.
I mean, I think it's certainly a high upside draft. I don't know if the bust potential is that high necessarily. Like, Will Johnson's interesting. He got comped to Patrick Surtain a lot, like similar size people. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. And the movement skills are quite similar in terms of the fluidity and just making it look quite easy. But I think he's Patrick Surtain. Like, the thing that characterized Patrick Surtain for me in college was he never lost. He wasn't necessarily, an insane playmaker, pass breakups all over the place, like interceptions everywhere, and just explosive and dangerous. But he just never got beat. And every single cornerback, pretty much to a man, coming out of college, somewhere in his resume, he's getting wrecked on a double move, right? Because it's just the way of the college game. Most plays that you're going up against, you can afford to take the chance and jump on the first route, and that's how you make plays. Surtain's the only guy where when they hit him with a double move, he didn't bite on it, and he was still in phase and still making plays. Will Johnson's like Patrick Surtain, but if Surtain got beat more, and that's basically what we're talking about. He's just a worse version of Patrick Surtain. Stylistically, it is a good comp, but he got beat more often. He took more chances. He was exposed more often, and apparently he's a significantly worse athlete than Patrick Surtain. So I think stylistically the comp is on point, but I think him going a lot later than Surtain also made a lot of sense to me.
The other picks too, Cody Simon was a really productive linebacker at Ohio State. I think he's got a chance to contribute as well. And then Denzel Burke, the corner out of Ohio State, another interesting prospect too. I think he was thought of as a fringe first rounder probably 2 years ago, and that just slowly dropped. Maybe he's a second rounder, and he had a rough season, particularly the Oregon regular season game just got absolutely torched. But as a 5th round pick for Burke, who's, moves pretty well, had that what looked like a high draft pick type of ceiling, I think that's pretty good in the 5th round to see if you can get the most out of him. So, it's not my favorite day 3 across the board for Arizona, but I think both Ohio State guys, Cody Simon and Denzel Burke, they have potential future here as well, especially in the secondary that can use any kind of help. And I think what I really liked about Arizona, as I've said with other teams, when you just put a bow on this offseason and what they've added on the defensive line. So now they've added Walter Nolen and Jordan Burch up front. So now you have Dalvin Tomlinson, Walter Nolen, last year's 1st round pick, Darius Robinson, Calais Campbell. I mean, just those 4 players, let's say year 2 of Darius Robinson versus rookie Darius Robinson, like those 4 players are all better than every interior defensive lineman that they had last year, right? Those are 4 upgrades compared to where they were last year at this time. And then on the edge, Zaven Collins, Josh Sweat, Baron Browning, BJ Ojulari, and you had Burch to that mix. It is just so much deeper on the defensive line. And they had similar issues in the secondary where Will Johnson has a chance to start right away. And, who knows, maybe Denzel Burke can eventually develop into a starter as well. So there's a lot to like about what Arizona's done on their defense. And I think this draft just put a bow on their offseason overhaul in the defense.
Yeah, I mean, they went defense, 5 straight picks in this draft, I think, before they went and 6 of the 7 or however many they picked. And then they needed to. I mean, the defense was the real lagging side of the ball. They'd done a pretty good job of piecing together an offense. The defense was in pieces and still needed a huge influx of talent. And I think they've done a pretty good job of that. Arif's data relative to the consensus board has the Cardinals as the 5th best draft this year in terms of the value they got. I think in large part because of the Will Johnson pick, a guy that was a consensus mid-1st round guy, and they get him in the 2nd round. That's going to be seen as one of the best value. Yeah, the 4th best valuable pick of the entire draft. So I think this is a good draft.
To be clear, I didn't think Will Johnson, Pat Surtain should have been in the same conversation. I don't think stylistically they're similar. I don't think there's many similarities there other than maybe size. I think Johnson, a bigger high-end interception total type of guy is Will Johnson for me. I hate using boom or bust, but like chances. I think he takes chances, and he's going to pick off some passes and the double move thing that you said. Surtain never got beaten on double moves, but yeah, Will Johnson will because he likes to be aggressive. The consensus from Renee, Arizona at 14th overall from a GPA perspective. So I do wonder how much day 3 affects that. I think the first 2 picks, most analysts would really like, assuming, Will Johnson in the 2nd. Most people had him in the 1st. So maybe it's day 3 dragging them down, but their grades ranged from A to a C+ in this draft.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.